Okay, so we got some stuff here. Let's see how much we'll get through in this video here. Um, I did one of these a couple of weeks ago, but actually haven't uploaded yet. So the last one you saw was, well, this one is probably not going to take 2 weeks to get uploaded from the last one. So I've just been a little bit late with actually uploading the videos. So in this one, like I said last time, there's going to be some things that I've seen before, or depending on how much I'll have time to talk about here. But I will do that sometimes if I watch movies, whether I do it for school or privately. I'm not gonna make that distinction because I get so sick of myself when I include movies and I mention, I watched this for school or for film course, or for the university course I'm taking. I'm just gonna stop doing that because I can't stand hearing it myself. So. But anyway, last so the movies that I will rewatch, I'm not gonna make that distinction, but maybe sometimes you can kind of figure it out. But it's about talking about movies. It doesn't really matter where I saw them, I suppose, ultimately. But here there's not any movies that I saw for class, I don't think. But anyway, from here on I'm not gonna. Yeah. Okay. I decided to rewatch some Buster Keaton movies, and the ones that I rewatched, it's a good budget set, but the quality is not the best. I would like to get the Blu-ray of some of these, especially The General, which I rewatched. Also saw The Navigator and Our Hospitality again. I think that was the three that I saw again, and I've seen most of them before. Movies like The Three Ages, Battling Butler in College, and Go West. Well, that's quite a few actually, but I haven't seen them twice. I've seen maybe, I think there's one of those that excuse me, one of those that I haven't seen at all. But anyway, The General especially, I want to get that on Blu-ray eventually because I just love it even more than last time. It's so just the way he directs the movie, how he was able to direct. A movie like that, using train cars for chase sequences, for extended chase sequences, all the while they're stopping, they're doing little jokes and major jokes, and just choreograph this whole thing so perfectly. And then they have a story too. It's just incredible, really great. And that that's the main reason why I love Buster Keaton, but I do like him for or I shouldn't say the main reason. That's the main title by him that I like. But it's just fun watching him in anything he's in. But The Navigator is great. Our Hospitality, I definitely liked that a lot more this time, which I should mention too. That last time I didn't really see the full potential with that movie or whatever, but. There is some great jokes and moments in that movie. I also rewatched In the Mood for Love, which I did not really enjoy as much as I thought I would. It's by Wong Kar-wai, and it's a good romance story, but I just find myself it's difficult to get used to the editing, I suppose, in a way. They cut very abruptly and from things, from different spatial and temporal planes, I suppose, sometimes very abruptly and unexpectedly, and just kind of sometimes throws me out of the movie a little bit. But it's good, but I can't really appreciate it as much as I appreciate, for example, Chungking Express. This is on a lot of best movies of all time lists, and I don't know, maybe I'll get back to that in the future. Then I saw not in this order, but The Red Violin, which was a very interesting movie about violin. Basically, the movie starts up at an auction, and this violin is revealed, and then before this whole auction has played out, little by little, you've seen kind of the history of this violin. It starts out, I don't know in what year, but several hundred years ago, and you get to see how that violin was made, and then who the subsequent owners throughout history were, and why it's such an expensive piece and why it's so sought after. And then you kind of, in between these stories, you kind of get back to the auction and you see a little bit more for each time. And it's just it's a good movie. I like the concept of this, and it pulled it off for the most part. Did have this kind of mysterious feeling to it that you know, history provides. So yeah, I did like that. Then something quite different, the Top Gear Patagonia special, just another one of the Top Gear road trips, or you know, great adventures. They've called them a few different things, but this I guess will be the last one for me. But they're gonna keep doing what they're doing with the new show for was it Amazon or Netflix? I'm not sure. But yeah, I like. I mean, as most of them, or as all of them, really enjoyed it. Then we have the Nightmare on Elm Street collection, which I picked up at a secondhand store pretty recently. At some point, I might get the Blu-ray edition, the newer release too. There's a newer DVD release too, and both that DVD and that Blu-ray seems to have you know, more featurettes and stuff than this, and maybe better picture quality too. But this was cheap, so, and I really enjoyed watching them. I had seen the first one before, which is probably the best one, along with maybe Dream Warriors. And that, you know, the second one wasn't as good. It definitely picked up with the third, and that kind of didn't entirely keep going. But with the fourth and the fifth, anyway, I thought that in terms of special effects and practical effects and body horror and stuff like that, they were mostly on par with Dream Warriors, but overall they were more forgettable. You know, I barely even remember the movies now, which is strange because it's not been that long since I saw them. But I do love the dream sequences and the gore and the violence and everything they come up with in those sequences is just a blast to watch. And then in the final nightmare, that became kind of cartoony and a little bit too goofy, and the violence and the gore and all that nightmarish scenery and stuff was kind of removed in a way in favor of other things for comedy and stuff, and I didn't really like that. And then Wes Craven's New Nightmare, probably the third best for me after Dream Warriors and A Nightmare on you know, the first one. Definitely a completely different movie from the rest, and very cool concept. A little bit slow, maybe. I mean, because I guess when you watched all of these movies with all this gore, and you get to the seventh one, you kind of, for me anyway, I had to get used to not being overwhelmed by gore in the same way. But it wasn't. I mean, it wasn't a big deal. I knew what the movie was gonna be like, I suppose, for the most part, and but it was good. Probably the third best, like I said. Yeah, I feel like I'm forgetting something, but let's just move on. This one I picked up very recently, Global Metal. You have Sam Dunn going around the world to you know, Indonesia, Iran. Was he? No, he wasn't able to get into Iran, so he had to meet them elsewhere, I think. But he's in Israel. Did I say China? Maybe Japan too, and Brazil. And you know, they talk about the sort of political condition, or the political climate, whatever, in the countries. How they've been, how they've had dictatorships and authoritarian rulers and stuff like that, and you know, a lot of discrimination. And partly, you know, this movie focuses on the metal, of course, the people who want to play metal and listen to metal, but might not have been able to, or been allowed to do so. And yeah, I don't know, I've seen a lot of stuff like this, it feels like. So it wasn't as interesting to me as it would have been a few years ago, but it was a good a good documentary, you know, about metal in countries that you might not even know that metal exists in those countries. I did, but you know, most people might not. or you know, you might not know much about the scenes anyway, which I didn't either. ER season 9, pretty flat and forgettable season overall. I feel like definitely did go downhill here more than it has before. Not all that great. Some episodes try to be kind of innovative and do new things, but I just kind of stop trying. Just show us good characters and interactions with patients, and that's enough at this point. For the most part, that's, you know, kind of what I feel. I don't know. Anyway, so I will pick up season 10 at some point, but unless it goes down in price right away, I doubt I'm gonna do that anytime soon, to be honest. Modern Family season 4. I enjoyed this more than season 3, which was a good thing, because I've said before that I really enjoyed the first and second. Had those two I had seen from before a few years ago, and then the third one, of some reason, I wasn't enjoying as much, but this one I enjoyed a lot more, so, or a little bit more. So I mean, I didn't hate season 3, so I mean, you know, but yeah, I love the show. Well, I'll get back getting season 5 at some point. They have a sale going on, and I could go back and get it for a little bit cheaper, but I don't know if I'm gonna do that now, if I'm gonna save it, maybe, because I have so much stuff to watch. It's not really necessary to get it right now. Anyway, Ex Machina. This was a very interesting, well-made movie. It's interesting that I couldn't figure out if this was an independent movie or not, because overall it looks fairly low budget, but then, you know, the robot here appears. I don't know what they call her, Ava maybe. She appears, and she looks, I mean, the CGI that they, I mean, just the robot visually, she looks great. And then I kept thinking, well, anyway, but apparently they have spent like half of the budget on that robot, played by a Swede, by the way. But anyway, I liked it. It brings out a lot of, or brings up a lot of sort of existential questions, and I don't know. It was a good movie, but it made me think about certain things that I don't necessarily like to think about. And people talk about, you know, what character did you relate to the most, and you know, I listened to a podcast with Oscar Isaac, and someone said like, well, most people would you know, sympathize with what is his name, Domhnall Gleeson's character, not Oscar Isaac and not Alicia Vikander, but the third person. You know, that's the person that the audience will relate to. But for me, I gotta say I related more to Oscar Isaac's character, and I don't know if that's a good thing. Not because I'm some sort of supermind who, you know, I don't know. It was just, I don't know. I guess I shouldn't get more into that. But yeah, I just made me think about certain things that, well, anyway. But it was a good movie, fairly unexpected ending, and overall well-told story. Cool kind of, I don't know how you should explain them, but lingering camera shots almost, because they move very slowly throughout the hallways and such. And it definitely, and with the ambient music score, it definitely helps to create this strange and existential atmosphere. Then we have Videodrome, which I gotta say I was a little bit disappointed with. I'd seen this before, and I was expecting to like it more this second time around, but I don't know. Maybe I do in a way, but it's just kind of still goes over my head. I'm not sure. After some of the twists and turns, I'm just lost in this whole labyrinth. But of course, you know, I get some of the ideas, and the main attraction for me is the obvious one, I guess, the gore and the practical effects. His face going into the TV, and you know, the gun becoming one with his hand, and you know, the way this guy dies very violently towards the ending. Anyway, but I don't know. It's not one of those movies where I see it and I don't really know exactly what's going on, and I really want to find out. I don't know what's wrong with my voice today, but anyway. And you know, I go online and read up things about it. It wasn't really one of those movies. I guess I don't care enough for that. But you know, I think if the movie was completely devoid of all this gore, then maybe I would not have even liked it. I don't know, but it's clear that David Cronenberg is an intelligent guy and that he has a vision. But anyway, yeah, let's just keep going. American Dad, Volume 7. Yeah, I don't know what to say about this show anymore. It's good. I like it. I think Roger has become my favorite character, and I didn't think so when I first started watching this show a few years ago. But yeah, good stuff. And then this one, apparently, this one is here. It's been a while since I saw this. Mr. Peabody and Sherman. Probably 2 months or something since I saw this, but this I really liked, and it's too bad that it didn't do well enough to warrant a sequel. I'm guessing they would have made another one if it did well, because there's a lot of stuff. I mean, the two characters here, apparently known from the show Rocky and Bullwinkle, from the 60s, they go back in time, because Mr. Peabody, I guess, he has a time machine, and there's a lot of stuff you can do with history. They go back to the most famous but a lot of the better known periods of history, and you get a lot of the references, but you can still go back to several different places that you may or may not have heard of, and do fun things with that, which they could have done in a sequel or two, but the movie didn't do too well, so it's too bad that it's not going to be a sequel, I suppose. But I really liked it. I thought it was a funny movie, a well animated movie, fairly clever movie. I mean, time machine movies, they always work on some level, but usually on another level it kind of doesn't make sense. And all time machine movies, they're definitely they definitely have to face that problem, but it wasn't really something that I thought about that much with this one. It was just a fun, family friendly, funny movie that I recommend. Then we got Mid-Morning Matters with Alan Partridge, which was definitely fun, I guess. I mean, was this a web series or something? Well, yeah, it says here. Well, I remember talking about this before. The exact same thing. Extras, online versions. Yeah, because I think that in this one they have put 2 episodes next to each other, so as to make them a little bit longer, and more like the standard length of sitcoms. But here you can choose to watch them one by one. Yeah, both the original 11-minute versions plus exclusive DVD-friendly double-sided edits. Anyway, it's just really Alan Partridge. He's sitting in his little booth where he records his radio podcasts or radio programs, and he has guests, and there's fun recurring little comedic themes, and it's funny. I really do think this was pretty funny. I read that he was going to make a series 2 of this, which after I read that for the first time, I don't think I've heard anything more about it, but it might just be me not having really paid attention. But anyway, yeah, that's that's that. Then we have this Buster Keaton doubleheader, The Railrodder, which was one of the last things he did, kind of going back to his roots a little bit with the physical and the silent comedy, and he just goes, I guess, cross country on this little car, this little thingy that he travels on train tracks, and it's pretty much what he does. He seems to have he seems to like trains. You know, obviously he did the General and as well as Our Hospitality. And you know, the picture quality is pretty bad, and it's obvious that it was pretty low budget. But it's funny, you know, he travels on this little car and he has everything he needs mysteriously just appears in this little box here that you can barely see. So he has like a little tea set, and he has a broom, and he basically lives his life on this little car that travels super fast, and he doesn't really seem to mind that it goes fast or that it might collide into something or whatever. He just kind of steals it, and then that's where he lives for a little while, and nothing more. I mean, it doesn't seem like he feels like there's anything too strange about that. Anyway, then The Silent Partner was a TV episode for some sort of program where Buster Keaton plays a former silent movie star. And then he's found eventually and paid tribute to, and obviously this The Silent Partner episode in itself feels like it does the same thing. And there's something that doesn't quite work in this. I mean, you get to see, because Buster Keaton's character was a silent movie star in the 20s, and he's sitting at this bar, as you can see right here. I think it might be, well, maybe not New Year's Eve, but it's some sort of ceremony going on TV, and they want to reward this guy, whatever his name was, and so they show some shorts, so some clips from his old movies, and he sits there watching them along with some other people who don't recognize him in the bar. Eventually they do, but not until the ending. And in the clips, Buster Keaton, he plays himself as this 1920s fictional slapstick star, and obviously at the time he was in his 60s. I think it's a little bit earlier than the Railroader, but he was not young anyway, and obviously he can't pull off everything that he did back in the 20s that we know him for. But it's cool that they acknowledge certain some of those things, and that he somehow goes back to playing that 1920s silent comedy, even though he looks very old and he's supposed to be in his 20s, I guess. And it's just not believable. But I guess it's maybe not supposed to be either. I don't know. But overall, it's fairly unsatisfying, fairly disappointing. But the Railroader in particular was pretty good. I'd say check it out if you like Buster Keaton. Pretty short DVD. I mean, it's 50 minutes all in all, so about 25 minutes each. Then we have this one, Overnight, about this guy, Troy something maybe. I don't know what his name was. Troy Duffy, the biggest douche you'll ever see on screen. He got a deal to make the movie The Boondock Saints. From being a complete nobody, and after he kept being a complete nobody, I guess, because it didn't really go anywhere. He did make a good movie, I guess, but nothing really happened with him after that, and he let everything go to his head, which this movie clearly shows. I think his friends filmed it, so it's pretty amateuristic, and it kind of skips certain parts that you may have wanted to see more of. But basically, it's just his friends with a camera. They put it on now and then over these couple of years or whatever, and then they put it together in the editing room as best as they can. But it is amateurishly filmed, and that shows. But it's not really about that. Ultimately, it's about the kind of things that he says, because he says some outrageous things. He's completely full of himself, and like I said, lets this whole thing go to his head very quickly. And I don't know what he was like before he got this deal, because they don't really show that much. So it's possible that he was like that all the time. But if not, then I mean, I don't know. He's just a very unlikable guy, and I had a hard time getting through this because I just fucking hated everything he said and the way he acted, and also because the movie, like I said, was was kind of filmed the way it is. It doesn't look bad. It just doesn't look professional either. And anyway, the movie has one good thing, which is, I mean, it's not a bad movie overall. It kind of shows what can happen if you let things go to your head like that. But the best thing about the movie, honestly, was Billy Connolly, because he was in the Boondock Saints, as you might know, and he appears as himself in, I guess what would be a behind-the-scenes little moment, and he's just funny as always, Then we have the big restaurant with Louis de Funès. This was fun, kind of split into two parts, where the first one takes place in a restaurant, and a lot of confusion and mayhem going on as always. And the second one is more of the second half, or maybe the last third, maybe wasn't as long. But that takes place on the road in the snowy mountains, and there a car chase takes place, which I thought was really funny. I mean, in the car chase, Louis, he's not really present, I guess, when they film that whole extravagant sequence, which is not really that extravagant. It's pretty enjoyable for sure, but and some stunts definitely going on and stuff like that. But I guess Louis, he wasn't really on set for most of that. He just kind of filmed his scenes later on a green screen, because he was in the car for the most of the time. It's not the main reason why I liked it, was just because it's an enjoyable car chase, and then Louis de Funès, he does his lines, of course, throughout. But I'm not sure what I'm trying to say. Kind of forgotten the plot, to be honest. I remember the movie very well, but not exactly what happened. Someone was kidnapped and stuff. But it was fun. If you like his movies, I think you will enjoy this. And yeah, let's see. I'm just gonna. Well, here we have another one actually. This one I don't know what it's called in English. But you have the French original title here. So you can just search for that if you want to look it up. This one was really funny as well. Not too much to say. It's just it's just a fun Louis de Funès movie. Honestly, I don't really know. It's not much to say about it. It's just it's funny. And we have two more here. I think I've talked about this before. I'm gonna put this aside. Hulk. This is the Ang Lee version, and I can't say haven't I talked about? I guess I haven't talked about this before. I guess I haven't made many of these videos lately, and but it's been a while since I saw this too. And honestly, I don't really have much to say about this either. I can't say I liked it very much at all. Very ugly looking CGI and very dark. Just the whole look of the movie is very dark, way too dark. And that's that. There are some other DVDs over there that I decided not to talk about. But that's basically that. So yeah, that's it. I'm just trying to think if there's anything more I want to say, but I guess not. Okay.